Thank you, Stian. Stian Westerhus is with us. Thank you again. You have a very personal approach to guitar playing, of course. How did you develop it? Techniques, inspiration?
It was. It's a long story, of course, but it was. I was in jazz education and trying to learn how to play jazz music. And I came into jazz music thinking jazz was free improvisation, but of course it's not. Anyway, I took this jazz education thing, and as the years passed, I felt more and less at home in the jazz world, and because I grew up with all this sort of prog rock things and metal and more sort of a rock and very sort of alternative rock. You know, like Robert Fripp and King Crimson, Gong, all this sort of psychedelia thing, Pink Floyd, Doors. Yeah, I didn't really feel at home in jazz, and I thought, well, I can't try to play this sort of jazz music anymore. I need to sort of figure out how to deal with this because I still love playing and improvising, and so I had this sort of epiphany where I just thought, okay, well, fuck it. If that's the problem, we need to deal with it. And so I walked into my rehearsal space and I threw out all the music, and then I just started playing on my own and improvising. And it was probably more just like the mindset, but there and then I just realized that, oh, there it is. There's this idea of playing which I had when I started playing, you know, like playing with music instead of just playing music. It's like suddenly it was alive again, and from there on it just exploded because then there was no rules. And then it was really it was a turning point.
You took several times the road to solo playing. When you start playing, do you have specific ideas, a general roadmap, or?
No, I don't, and there's a reason to it, because when I started doing the solo thing, mainly because of what I just told you about sort of trying to find out what my voice was in my music, I started doing this sort of solo project to really sort of develop my own voice in my own music without collaborating, and sort of really trying to sort of don't ask people what they think, don't, you know, all these sort of just do it, just keep doing it. And I think that it was sort of maybe the second real sort of, or maybe it was the first, I'm not really sure if it was the first or the second real sort of solo concert I had, which was it was like an exam concert for a master's degree. Mm-hmm. And it was 350 people. I really packed one of the best clubs in Trondheim, which is now gone. It's called Blast. It's really huge PA. I had this sort of roadmap of where I wanted to do all these sort of almost like tune structures and really sort of almost composed, but of course improvised. And it went great. It was, and there were 4 different movements, and the third one was really fucking violent, you know, sort of standing on top of the amplifier, sort of hurling the guitar with feedback. It was great. It was like, the audience was really there. It was really connected. And then the 4th movement was that I was supposed to put all these sort of things on my guitar and play the bow, which I had planned, because then it would be this sort of comforting thing and really beautiful. Little had I thought that my previous movement had made me sweat so much that all the strings were just drained in sweat. The guitar was completely out of tune. And when I started playing the bow, there wasn't like a woo, it was like and it just completely destroyed the entire feeling of it. And I panicked. I just realized, there's something wrong happening. And then after that, I just realized that this is really stupid. I should be able to trust myself when I play the guitar. You know, if I'm going to play improvised music, I need to trust myself to improvise. And just because then there's no no's, there's no like negatives. It's just yes. You need to just listen and be creative and trust it. You know. And sometimes it can be good. Sometimes it can be maybe a little bit less good, but it definitely won't be wrong. And that's so I never plan it. And me and Sitsu also, we never plan anything.
Your music has a very imaginative atmosphere. How much did you experience the possibility given by music, lighting, images together?
Oh yeah. No, so in some projects we really worked a lot with the visual stuff, and I also done like programming video, and yeah, I keep coming back to it, but it's always a problem. Like if you're gonna do a lot of shows, it's especially when you're traveling alone and stuff like that. It's quite hard to make sure that everything works, and have to bring some crew, and it's quite expensive. But it's of course you know, if I could, I would take control over everything. Control the entire atmosphere. But we're actually making I wrote a piece for Zuid-Nederlandse Philharmonie in Netherlands, and we're turning that piece into a film actually, which is very exciting. So we're working with an animateur writing. It's lovely.
You are the first listener of yourself, in particular, obviously, when you play solo. What happened when you play with others?
I honestly don't really know, but I think with how I feel about it myself is that especially with this solo project, I sort of developed my own voice and my own way of approaching the instrument and sort of channeling my art, as it were, through the instrument. And I think I feel very grounded in that, because I manage to listen in a different way, so I can sort of detach myself from the music. I can go into collaborative sessions without sort of becoming a different guitarist, or it's more like I also just play with people who have more or less the same idea of how to improvise. And it's all about like how you think about music rather than how you think about your own playing. It's more about not wanting something and just seeing like how can we make this music live together. It's more like taking care of a child instead of bringing your dog, So.
Yeah. Your musical process is involving different instruments, let's say guitar and electronics too. And what are you studying the most now? Which are the things you will take care in the close future then?
It's a good question. I think it's really mixed up for me. But it's I'm always, when it comes to electronics and also my instrument and also all these sort of technique-based tools, I'm very, very, very aware that they are just tools and they need to be assessed as tools instead of, like say I'm programming in Max MSP, this sort of programming thing, and it's very good for developing stuff, but at the same time it needs to become something that I can control as an instrument, as a tool. Not that I just press play and it does something interesting, because then there's no me there, and there's no expressivity into it. But at the moment I'm actually doing a PhD in sort of performative music, I suppose, and sort of really working on where is the cutoff between the sort of what is the instrument and what is the self, and how does that actually relate to each other. And so I'm doing a lot of work at that at the moment, and we'll be doing it for the next year and a half. Yeah,
so good luck.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to need it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, thanks a lot, Stian.
All right, cool, man.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me.